Darine, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai. So we'll go to page 1. Om Jnana Timirandasya. You can just repeat it.
Om Ajnana Timirandasya
Jnananjana Shalakaya.
Jnananjana Shalakya
Chakshur Unmilitam Yena.
Chakshur Unmilitam Yena
Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha.
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
I was born in the darkest ignorance,
I was born in the darkest ignorance,
and my spiritual master opened my eyes
And my spiritual
Spiritual
master
Master opened my eyes
with the torch of knowledge.
with a torch of knowledge.
I offer my respectful obeisance unto him.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
John, thank you. Cruz, we're moving into a new zone, a new chapter. I hope most of you had a chance to review the last verse of number 6, Dhyana Yoga. If we have a little time at the end of our presentation today, we'll ask any of you if you've had a chance to memorize it, to do that for us, either in the Sanskrit, English, or Spanish. Okay. Put a plug in there for a Markandeya Rishi. All right, so then let us look to chapter 7, and this is entitled Knowledge of the Absolute. And we're going to, let's see, we're going to give this like a subtitle. Knowledge that is unique. We'll just call it knowledge that is unique. Okay, so I'm going to read the first verse here. The Supreme Personality of God had said, "Now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt." Okay. I wanted to bring to your attention the phrase asangsyam samagrang mang. It's something Prabhupada had quoted a few times, and basically it's just addressing completely understood, no doubt. Okay, so what is it that's to be understood, and where there's to be no doubt? It's to know Krishna in full. Okay, so this chapter is going to help us to see God, Krishna, in different places, in the elements and so on like that, as well as maybe in some sound vibrations. We're going to understand that God is not limited to a shape or form. Even though when we go to the temple, and when we get to go to the temple, you will see a deity there made of marble or wood or brass. And we can, from our eye point of view, we can see there's limitations here. There's, there's a height, there's a length, there's a breadth to the size of the deities. But we know the deities are special, and from their form emanates a lot of power, a lot of Shakti. At the same time, we are to appreciate that God is everywhere. Now, I want to let you know that sometimes people pose an argument. Like we say, God is in the deity form. And someone will say, well, God is everywhere. I don't think God is there. God is everywhere. And it's true. God is everywhere. We're going to explore that in this chapter. But at the same time, we can argue, well, if God is everywhere, why isn't God in the deity then? You see? And especially when you give personal and devotional attention to that deity, God becomes especially manifest there. When you install a deity, you invite Brahmins to come in, they chant mantras, and you're inviting them to come in. And even before that, even for the people who sculpt the deities, like in India, most of the people who carve at least the marble deities, they're Muslims. They're actually getting paid to do this, which is like a very honorable kind of work, you know? And as soon as you shape something out of the image of Krishna, as soon as whatever doesn't matter what material you're using, as soon as you're shaping Krishna out of the material, Krishna is becoming there. His form is non-different. So what to speak of when pundits or Brahmins come and invite the deity to come inside in a much more, let's say, even more concentrated way. And what to speak of when devotees are coming to the deity and giving so much attention and chanting to those deities and feeling a reciprocation. So anyways, the whole idea is about getting fullness. If I want to understand Krishna, let me know him in a most complete way possible. So that Krishna is saying to Arjuna, okay, here is how you're going to understand me in full and be free from doubt. So he says, Shrinu, that's the last word in the verse. So hear for me, try to listen. Okay, we'll go to the next verse. And first of all, before we jump to the second verse, we just want to say that Prabhupada is, put a lot of energy into this purport. And he's quoting from the Bhagavatam, some very, very famous verses from Canto 1, starting with Srinivadam Sukata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kiritana, then Nashta Parayeshu Vidarishu, Tadara Justamo Bhava, Evam Manasa Pranava, Evam Pranasa Manaso, Vijate Ridyan Granthis. If anybody likes to memorize or likes to make music, these are excellent verses, 5 of them there in a string. Okay, so let us look at text number 2 now. And is there somebody, Markandeya, would you like to read verse number 2?
Of course. Just the translation.
Yes, just give us the translation.
Okay. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know.
Okay, great. Again, what this verse is saying is that I'm going to tell you something in full. When we talk about fullness, there is no room left. If I fill my thermos here, my thermos, and I fill it right to the top, to the brim, as we say in English, there's no room for anything else. So Krishna is posing to tell his student Arjuna, I'm going to tell you everything. After this, there is nothing more to be known. And one time Prabhupada also said, he said, I've given you everything. I've given you everything. So that means there isn't anything more. Sometimes we hear people, they say, well, Prabhupada gave us the beginning, but now I'm going to tell you more that you don't know already. Let's talk about Krishna and the gopis. Hare Krishna. Okay, great. So do we really need to hear about Krishna and the gopis? I think it's okay to hear a little bit about the rasa dance, kind of an intent behind it, but I don't think it's really necessary for our sake to hear about a pastime that can easily be misunderstood. No. So everything will be told here. Everything that's phenomenal and everything that's noumenal. Does anybody know what phenomenal means? Phenomenal as opposed to noumenal or numinous. Somebody want to look it up?
Yeah, I'm, yeah. See.
Sometimes it's good to use a dictionary.
You were saying something.
I'm sure that in Spanish, the words are similar, isn't it? Phenomenal.
Phenomenal. Yes, I think it's the same.
I think so too. Yeah, right. Okay, we're going to find out what phenomenal means.
Extraordinary, very remarkable.
Right, exceptional, outstanding, and amazing. Good. So if that's the case, a numinous means what? That which is not so extraordinary, not so exceptional. Okay, having a strong religious or spiritual quality, indicating or suggesting the presence of a divinity. So here we're talking about, these are like synonyms, it's an adjective. Come in. Yeah, just once, yeah, come in. Well, I'm giving a class right now. All right. Okay, so this phenomenal refers to the material existence. It is extraordinary, right? And then noumenal refers to the spiritual energy. Okay, just show you for you to be known. Okay, so it's pretty self-explanatory. This verse is saying what Krishna says in the first verse. I'm giving you all. It's Purnam, complete. Purnam is a Sanskrit word that you'll come up with. It'll pop FI here and there. So it means everything, complete. Sarva. Any questions? Okay, then we'll go to number 3. Who would like to read number 3?
May I?
Do you have a volunteer?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know who you are. Sarthak,
Okay.
go ahead.
Mataji, could you please scroll down a bit?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No worries. Out of the many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth.
Right. Okay, because we're dealing with knowledge of the phenomenal and numinous world, it's a large scope. It's a large range. And most people don't explore the whole range. It's just like if you're taking voice lessons, you can do real high-pitched voice, hit a high point, or you can hit a low point, right? And most people have a hard time dealing with that range, unless if you take some voice lessons. So most people do not take the trouble to understand matter versus spirit, and running them like parallels, comparing notes. But it's let's just give a simple example to make it really clear. Where we're talking about matter or the phenomenal world, we're talking about something that's temporary, right? And when we talk about the spiritual world, it is Sat. That means it's eternal. When we talk about everything there's a lot of ignorance, confusion. That is a good description of what is the material existence. When we talk about spirituality, we're talking about being conscious, being cognizant. That's a nice word. Cognizant of all that's there. And so that's one thing to look at. And then when we look at the material world, Krishna says, Dukale Mashashvatam. Dukkha. Dukkha means a lot of misery, a lot of trouble. A lot of people are experiencing depression. You look at the news and it's so depressing. I even wonder why people just follow the news so much, So why do you want to follow the news? Why would anybody want to be depressed? But news is really, it's olds, OLDS. You're just hearing the same thing over and over again. It's all repeated again. When we talk about information of the spiritual world, then there's something ever fresh there. So the quality of that which is spiritual is that there's ananda, there's always joy. So you're just giving 3 examples of when you compare notes of the physical material energy to the spiritual energy. There's vast differences there. So if we want to be aware and be wise men and women, it's a good idea to explore the range, to understand. You go high and you go low. Say, like, if you're a bird, from a bird's eye, you can see a lot of things. Hawks can see a little rodent way down underneath because he's got a sharp eye, and he'll come down very silently and then pluck his victim, so that is the nature of material existence. And if you're on the ground level, you can actually see a lot of things that you wouldn't see from up above. You're getting a lot of details above and below. And when we understand the phenomenal and noumenal world, we're getting into the details. Personally, I wish more of the public would look at nature, and you can learn so much from nature. But most of us are quite busy, and we're just spending a lot of time putting on makeup, working out, trying to get some nice clothes and a good car, and blah, 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 and as if that's the only thing that's important, but there are more important things. Okay, so with verse number 3, we are talking about something that's unique. That is this people don't explore, and so therefore we call it rare, and that's why I gave the subtitle that this is unique, knowledge that is unique. When Prabhupada came to Toronto in 1975, Prabhupada was asking about devotee making, and our answer was that some people are coming, but it's not very many. And actually, in those days, we were making a lot more devotees than now, in a certain kind of way, like from the Western sector, at least. And Prabhupada responded when the temple president said, Prabhupada, we're not making too many devotees. Then he quoted this verse, Manushanam sahasreshu kastid yatati siddhaye yatadam api siddhanam kastin mam vedi tatpataha. So here's how it works, like proportionately, percentage-wise. Let's say we have 1,000 people, and out of 1,000 people, one may take to spiritual life. One. Or let's say one might, out of 1,000 people, You might get some people are interested in a good life, like piety, being in the mode of goodness. And out of 1,000 of those, you might get one who's interested in devotion. And out of those, very few become successful. It sounds like a kind of a depressing verse, but there are other shlokas that give us hope. This one, maybe not so much. So that's something to ponder. I think we all have that experience. If we want to talk about Donald Trump, people say, "Oh, what's the latest?" You know, or if you want to talk about Beyonce or something like that, someone like that, or you know, some of the famous people. Who are they? Mark and Dea can tell me who are some of the famous. Bruno Mars or somebody like that, right? So, oh yeah, what's the latest music? And everyone will get very excited, right? They'll get super excited. But when we talk about the topic of spirituality and working towards purification, a purging, how many people really are going to take interest? Not that many. If we talk about soccer or football, then especially in Argentina, whoa, there's it's the greatest thing, like greater than God almost, right? So when we talk about that which is within, that which is maybe even kind of mystical, it's not so tangible, then people just bypass it and they just say, "Oh, I'm not so interested. If I can't see it, if I can't smell it and taste it, then I'm not so much interested." But what if you could sense it? If you could sense it, and this is where some people do take interest. If I can sense the absolute, then it'd be good. So now what we're going to be doing, we'll be going to the next shloka, and we're going to start to see how God is found in the material existence. Okay? So we're going to start a new section here. We're going to call this God's presence in all. Okay? God's presence in all. Or you can say all pervading. Any one of those two would work. Okay, so here's a nice verse that helps us to understand Krishna in the concept of Achincha Beda Beda Tattva. Okay, could somebody read that who hasn't read it yet?
Yes, I can read.
Okay, go, Nipuran.
Can I read?
Yes.
Okay. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 constitute my separated material energies.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you very much. So we're talking about Ashta. Ashta means 8. 8 ingredients out of 24 that make up the material cosmos. Yes, Krishna is present in these elements. Right now, we can appreciate the presence of air, and we can appreciate the presence of ether because I'm talking to you now, and my sound is being projected through the ether, right? And so we can appreciate those two elements. So Krishna is there, exists in these elements. At the same time, he says that they are my separated energies. Vina, there in the second line of the Sanskrit, indicates that it's separated. Prakriti energies and Ashtada, which we already mentioned, is called 8 separated energies. But we cannot deny that they are his energies. And sometimes we say the energy is like practically the energetic. Let's give an example of the sun, example that's given by Prabhupada so many times. So you have the sun and you have the sunshine. So we know what the sun is. It's a disk in the sky, and it gives out a lot of light and warmth. And then you have the sunshine, which is projected from the sun. And it basically, the sunshine has the same qualities as the sun. So in one sense, they are one. In another sense, they are separated, because the sun is different from the sunshine. And of course, we can also talk about the sun god who's different, but that's something else right now. We're just talking about the energetic and the energy. So Krishna is the energetic, and you can say we are the energy. Krishna is the energetic, and our bodies are also the energy, one of the energies of the Lord. Is that pretty clear? But here you can apply the philosophy of Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva in the sense that there is oneness. Oneness, but uniqueness and individuality at the same time. And by the way, this verse is a nice one to learn, and the one previous as well. And again, if you're talking to people, if someone puts out the argument, God is everywhere, okay, fine. You can quote this verse. Yes, God is everywhere, but we can also look at it in terms of God's energy is everywhere, and God is within that energy, or God is projecting that energy. Okay? So just like if we take, I'm just looking at the devotees we have here, Vaishnavi, okay, and your wonderful husband, Ananta Shesha, you're both wearing glasses, okay? These glasses are yours. They belong to you, but they are not you, okay? If you take your glasses off, most people, when they go to sleep at night, they take off their glasses, right? So if I come into the room and I see you sleeping there, and I see your glasses on your little, bed lamp, desk or whatever table, said, oh, those are your glasses. They are part of you, but I'm not going to start talking to your glasses and say, wake up, Ananta Shesh, wake up and start talking to your glasses. The glasses are your possession. They are your energy, but you are the energetic, you are the cause. The glasses were made for you. So we have to make a distinction. So there's oneness but difference. And there's some people, you wouldn't know them if they didn't have glasses on. Some people are famous for glasses, right? And just like the other day, I saw a picture of Salvador Dali. Anybody know Salvador Dali? He's a famous, what do you call it? Avant-garde, what do you call it? A particular kind of art from Spain, from the last century. And he is famous for his mustache, okay? His mustache goes up like this. Like sometimes we see Maharajas from India, they curl it too, right? But they curl like this. But Salvador Dali's mustache goes up like this and like that. People see him as a little bit eccentric because many artists are, So that's a Salvador Dali mustache, but he is not the mustache. He might shave it off. I'm sure he would grow it again. And he's no longer with us, as far as I know. But he is definitely, he is the person, and then he has his possessions. Okay? So the earth, the water, the fire, the air, the ether, the mind, the intelligence and ego These are the possessions of Krishna. You know, they're his shaktis, his energy. And we can say, because he's in there, he can be found in there as Paramatma in these energies. But we cannot say directly that that earth is Krishna. So Chincha Beta Beta Tattva philosophy is the prescription given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it applies here. Okay, so these are energies, 8 of them. Everybody remembers? Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, ego. And then we'll go to the next verse, which helps us to understand Krishna's presence in the living entity. Okay, so we'll get somebody else who hasn't read yet to look at number 5. Who would like to volunteer? We're missing some of our devotees. But normally,
Maharaj, look, I can read it. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mine, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior energy.
do we read the whole verse, or did I miss something?
Well, I think you're.
That's Jai Shri Vrinda, isn't it?
Yeah, you froze for a second. Maybe that you missed it. She read the whole thing. Yeah.
Oh, she did. Okay. Besides these almighty armed Arjuna, there's another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. Okay, so Krishna is making it known to Arjuna that beyond the physical energy, there is a superior energy, and that is us. We are known as Vibhanangsha. Krishna is Swangsha, and we are Vibhanangsha. And that means we're extensions from him, but we are not him. On one level, you can say everything is Krishna, but on another undeniable realm, we can say we have to make a distinction. We are not Bhagavan. So that's a point made very clearly by the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the followers of Lord Sri Krishna. So he's making us aware of this other energy, part of the numinous world, you could say. We are sometimes referred to, the living entities, the spirit souls, as being Tatashta Shakti. Shakti means energy, and Tatashta means that we're in the middle. That means we like sit on the fence. I don't know if you have that term in Spanish, or if you have that term in India, but in English they always have that sitting on the fence. It means that you're not making up your mind. So are you going to be on this side of the fence or that side of the fence? Make up your mind. But some people are, let's say, quite unsure about where they want to be. And we who are in this world struggle all the time. Even when we're doing our japa, we're thinking of Krishna sometimes and sometimes not. It's on and off. So that means we're Tatashta Shakti. Sometimes we're spiritually absorbed, sometimes materially absorbed. And because we are not liberated and we are souls that are conditioned, we can sometimes be very enthusiastic about bhakti and sometimes less enthusiastic. But the idea by absorbing these lessons from the Gita is to come closer and closer to the real thing, which is to merge into service with Krishna, to do everything and with the right heart and the right spirit. Then you will not become God. You'll always be let's say, his part and parcel. But you will at least be spiritual. Yes. So Prabhupada also says in this verse, the living entities were exploiting the resources of this material, inferior nature. Nothing could be more truthful than this, where we're finding out that we are, let's say, exploiting, damaging, even stronger word, the material energy. Because after all, it is inferior, but we cannot live without it. We cannot live without air. You cannot hear me without ether. You know? We cannot survive unless if we drink some water or something like that, or some lemon. What did I have? I just had honey ginger chai. By the way, I recommend it highly. We are so dependent, but Krishna is not dependent. Any questions so far?
So Prabhupada uses this part and parcel a lot, right? That's like an ancient
Right.
British way of saying, it's a British English actually, right? Part and parcel.
Yeah, it certainly sounds British, Your Lordship. Sounds very British. Yes, it does.
Do you know what is the American, North American version of it?
Part and parcel. Let's say a piece of the action. I don't know. Part of. Hey, we're all part. Hey, we're all on this boat together. Yeah. Okay, so let us move along then. Number 6.
Okay, so I have a question
Mm-hmm.
regarding this Manusyanam Sahasreshu verse 1 out of every 1,000.
You want us to step back, right? Okay.
Yeah. On the other hand, we also are trying to distribute as many Bhagavad Gitas as possible. So,
Yes.
what exactly are we doing? Is it trying to find that 1 out of 1,000?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, yeah, maybe we're looking for that moon amongst the stars, but it doesn't matter. The stars are important too, right? Right. Everybody has to, be touched or moved by this quality of touchstone that we have in Krishna consciousness. There's a need for everyone to go up 1 or 2 or 3 notches in their evolution towards Krishna. So devotees move with the heart. And even if somebody, like it's a rare thing, unique thing to be Krishna conscious or to be attracted to it, we know that when people come in touch with it in some shape or form, they will make some progress. So even if somebody, like we don't see a lot of people passing the exam, some are passing the exam, and the exam was good because you learn so much from the studies and so on like that. And some people will not give up. They'll take the exam again and they'll keep going at it. So just by us trying to distribute Krishna conscious literature, we are enthusing people in their spiritual life. Some people are, having some attraction, as it's mentioned, and we're going to look at that in this chapter. There's already 4 kinds of people who are attracted, and 4 kinds of people who will not be attracted in the least. And so we are simply saying that everyone gets some benefit, and it's just rare to find a very pure soul, but don't look too hard. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. Do come to terms with meeting someone who is the best example, of being Krishna conscious. Look for that exemplar, that very best example in a person. So to know what to look for in a good person, to find that most perfect person, we have to read about the qualities. The Gita will tell us what are some of the characteristics of a really surrendered soul. All right, so if you want to distribute lots of Bhagavad Gitas with the hope that one person will come and save the world, that's worth it, right? But it's not going to be like that. Most of us are not going to meet Mr. or Mrs. Pure Devotee, but we can get purified in the process of our service, of dispersing the wisdom. And also some people will come forward and they will make some kind of spiritual progress. So we are not disheartened. We are not discouraged just because it's 1 in a million or whatever it is. That, you know, it's people will advance and evolve, and that's the most important thing. All right, so thank you for asking that question. Any other concerns anybody has right now? Okay, who would like to read the next verse then, please? Who hasn't had a chance?
Maharaj, can I read?
Why not? There's no law against it.
All created beings having their source in these two natures, of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution.
Uh-huh. Okay. So we're getting to know a little bit more about Krishna in full. Some more details are expressed here. Again, he's talking about the material and spiritual energy, and he's saying that it's because I take the credit, says I'm the origin of it all, and if there's going to be some devastation, I'm also the cause of that. I'll wind things up in this world. I will generate the living beings in this world, but I will also come and take them, and I will dissolve them at some point in time. Sometimes he does it wholesale, sometimes it's little by little. And every once in a while, you hear about somebody who died, somebody you know. Oh, so and so just passed away. Oh, really? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. And so all around us, there's death taking place. Little by little, it's happening. Again, Krishna is just talking about he's the source of the material and spiritual world. So he's expressing his superiority over everyone. Now, the next verse is also another famous one. You might take note of this one. Mata parataram nanyat kinchadasti dhananjaya mayi sarvang idang protam sutre managana aiva. O conqueror of wealth, he's talking to Arjuna, because Arjuna once conquered, went around, did Sankirtan, collected a lot of, gold pieces and, riches for the king, his brother Yudhishthira. So Krishna is saying, there's no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung in a thread. So it's a nice idea, the idea of the thread. Everybody's seen a pearl necklace. No? Sarthak, have you ever seen a pearl necklace?
You have a
Yes.
robotic voice, Maharaj.
So Krishna's like the thread, he's the string, and he's got everyone programmed. He says, everyone follows my actions in all respect, my desires. Everyone's following me, whether you're a rascal or if you're a devotee. If you're a rascal, you're following his material energy, and you're doing negative things. It's his energy, and it's Krishna's negativity. So He's, he's responsible for all these things, everything that exists in this world.
Maharaj,
Yeah, and I just want to say that, just on that, highlighting this
Maharaj,
verse.
your voice has become a robot voice. Is there something going on with your microphone?
Okay, is this a little better?
No.
Okay, so then what I will, give me a minute.
Devotees, I think what's happening when Maharaj's microphone goes like that, I think it's because something, when it, sometimes it goes out for a short bit and then it comes back. And then other times it goes for a long bit, but it always comes back. I think it's because something's happening on his phone. Either he's receiving a text or a call or something,
see.
because I find that that happens to me on my phone. If I'm on the phone and I've got it on speakerphone on a video call and I receive a telephone call while I'm on a video call, the sound goes funny.
Okay.
So I think it's just a matter of being patient, and I think we can, even though it's hard to understand him, if we turn up our volume, I think we can kind of get the gist of what he's saying. So I don't know if there's much on his end that he can actually do aside from perhaps putting his phone on do not disturb before doing the call. So maybe that's something we can remind him to do before the call starts and see if that helps. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, just a thought anyways from my own experience. Are you Prabhu's able to hear him okay when, even though it's robot and it's kind of hard to understand, are you able to kind of get
I think we could hear a feeble.
the basic gist? Yeah. I'm not sure if he's now or what, but
We can kind of make out if he, comes real close to the computer or his phone, I think,
Right.
like we did a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, but I don't know where he is. We cannot.
See, try to dial.
He is back.
Okay.
We're back. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
it's okay. It's okay. It's a little bit weird, but I can next time we talk, I think I have an idea of what's happening. We can discuss it then.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at these pearls that are in a thread. The pearls could easily be, I could be a pearl, you could be a pearl, Sarjak is a pearl, Nitai Pri is a pearl, and we're all pearls, but we're on the thread. The thread is Krishna, who's holding us all together. One pearl could also be Brahma, Shiva, and the Devatas, but we're all being held together by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's a very nice example. Mata parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhanantaya. Mayi sarvam idam prutam sutre manigana iva. There's no truth superior to me. He's like Krishna's one without a second. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. There's a very strong verse that expresses that Krishna is God. That's another thing to consider. Who can make this claim? Anybody can say this? Everything rests on me. Everything's dependent on me. Very few people can make that claim. The only people who can make that claim have a little bit of let's say, mental condition, a little bit of a imbalanced dynamic in their life, we've all met people like that. I'm God, or they'll say, how are you? I said, I'm fine. I met one guy, said, where are you from? I'm from everywhere. Oh, really? Okay, all right. All right, so you're God, right? I'm God. All right, super.
You'll find many of those godmen in India, Maharaj. So-called self-celebrated godmen. You'll find many of those in India.
So many of them, right?
Absolutely.
So God is in control, right? Okay, so when it comes to the call of nature, you're not in control anymore. Your bowels are pushing you to do something, right? So you're no longer in charge. So your godhood has only lasted so long. And then when God doesn't go to the can like we do. Yeah, so India is a place where they manufacture mystics every day. There's a new avatar. Okay, so beautiful. We don't have so much time left. I think we should leave it at this point because it's 7 verses. They are glorious verses. And we should meditate on them a little bit more. Does anybody have any question at all? Okay. We are in this phase now of the all-pervasive aspect of the divine of Krishna. And starting next week, we'll be looking at more ways to see God just through when you drink water. So, and we want to become Krishna conscious means to be conscious of the Supreme everywhere. So it starts with the very simple things like earth, water, fire, air, ether. And things like I'm the taste of water. I'm the light of the sun and moon, So get ready and get set. Thank you very much. And so next week, what's the date for next week? Anybody know offhand?
24th?
Today is the 17th. Yeah, 24th. Yeah, what's if it's the 24th, that's Christmas Eve, right? Correct?
Yes, correct.
And at 6 o'clock, people are all over the world, they're going to be ringing bells. Yes. Everywhere all over the world, people are going to go out of their houses and ring bells for 2 minutes. It's a kind of a meditation. And so if we're going to do that, we'll have to break off a little early. I'd suggest about 10 to, just so that we can go and find our bell, open the door, get other people out there and ring bells to support the health care workers, the medical workers who are trying to deal with this nasty virus. Will that be okay?
Yes, Maharaj. Yes,
Absolutely,
definitely.
Maharaj.
So can you, Prabhus, have your bells ready before the class, before the discussion? And
Yes,
then we'll
Maharaj.
cut it off early. And then you go outside your front door and you ring the bell. You ring your ding, 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 ding. Okay, so thank you very much. We're going to see you next week. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Krishna, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Mataji,